Hey, it's Kevin Gilligan of PhotosByKag.com, and today I'm going to go out and do some long exposure photography. I love long exposure photography because it's so creative. It's a lot of fun to see how water, in this case, which is what I'm going to photograph, changes over time. Short exposure, longer exposure, 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes. It's going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to it. And I got some new gear that I'm going to use, so I'm stoked about that. Check it out.
I switched over from a mirrored system to a mirrorless system. So now I have the RF Canon 15-35 to go with the R5 Mark II, which means that I needed some new lens filters in order to do long exposure. So I reached out to my friends at Nisei Filters and got some really cool new lenses. I want to show you their JetMag Pro, which is super small, very light, packs away. I'm going to show you how I'm going to pack this up and go out and shoot with that. So for wide angle, you want to have, and for long exposure, you got to make sure you have a nice sturdy tripod. This is the tripod that I use when I am in the studio. It's big and it's heavy. I can use a smaller one, but I don't like a smaller one for long exposure because over 15-30 seconds, especially if there's some wind, I want something that's a little heavier. You want a wide angle, so I've got a 15-35. I'm going to bring my 24-70 just in case, but I don't think I'm going to use it. I think I'm going to stick with 15-35, but you never know. And then use some filters, so check these out. What I really like about this filter system is that it is super light and super small. So if you are hiking, you can take it with you very easily. If you don't want to grab a big pack today, I'm just going to actually put it all in a shoulder pack, which is crazy to be able to fit a camera, 2 lenses, everything in the shoulder pack. And basically the way this works is you've got covers on each side, and then you take it's magnetic, which is really cool. I don't know if you can see this part, get this in focus. You can see here that they have different ND filters. Right, so I've got a color circular polarizer, and then that's got a 3-stop, 6-stop, and a 10-stop. So you can also stack these because this is magnetic, which is pretty awesome. And it's quite small, it fits in the palm of your hand. I've got a pretty big sized mitt, but it fits easily in the hand, and this is a really nice little holder. So here is what you use to attach the Jet Pro system here from Nisei to your camera. You're going to get a thread. In my case, for the Canon 15-35, the thread is an 82mm thread, and you can figure that out by looking at the front of your lens. It will say up there what the thread size is. If you don't know, you can Google it or whatever, AI it. But it'll tell you right there the thread size. Then you get the thread size that you need, and then you screw this on like that, and then the others just attach. I'll show you. So you put it on, and then you just screw that on to tighten it, which is easy. All right, tighten it up there, and then you take your magnetic ones and you put it on. You can pick one or actually all of them if you want, just for storage, but just I'll show you how easy it is. And you just put it on there, and then once it's on and attached, you can rotate these by the blue and silver. It's very easy to move them. You can see again, it's got the readings on the side, but it's very easy to move these based on these little holders right here. So I'm putting the filters back in here, and then I took off the attachment, the screw filter for the 82mm. I put this in, and I zip it up, and all this fits in my bag really neatly. So instead of carrying a big heavy shoulder bag, I'm just going to carry this little awesome bag right here from Wandrid, and it's just a nice shoulder sling. And it's really light, so I've got my R5 Mark II and the 15-35 on there. Here's the 24-70 just in case I want to use it. I'll put it in the Nisei filters right here. I've got an extra battery and lens cleaner here. It's good to have lens cleaner, extra battery. When you do long exposure photography, the battery can drain if it's cold or it's on a long time. Because you're doing 30-second or minute exposures or more. So I always bring an extra battery, and then since I'm shooting by the ocean, I always bring something to clean it down with. And this is going to zip up nicely, and then I'm just going to attach my Manfrotto tripod on the bottom, and ready to go. Oh, also bring extras of these because they get lost. whatever kind. If you have an Arca Swiss, bring those, but whatever it is that attaches your camera to your tripod, always bring some extras, especially if I'm out on an expedition, if I'm going to Patagonia or Iceland or someplace far away, there's not a camera store near there. I will buy 3 or 4 of these and put them in my bag just to have them because they can disappear. So here's what it would look like attached. And just pick it up and carry it. Easy. Easy peasy, right?
Looks like a seagull convention. Where's a little kid when you need him to come by and run and scare them all off? Okay, maybe not the day for a swim. Another good reason to do long exposure photography. All right, so you're down at the beach. What are you gonna photograph? It's nice to have some points of interest in your foreground. So pier or something like that is nice, otherwise the water alone can lack perspective. You have to be careful of your gear because if there's a big wave coming in at any point, you might have to get on the run. It's a good idea to look at the shoreline and see where the sand is dry and wet, get a rough idea. And then I'm going to put my tripod on, my camera on the tripod, and level it up. So I'm going to look for the internal level filter, the internal level, and get it so that my horizon is level. You may have to adjust your tripod and figure out some level, obviously. Make sure your plate is nice and tight when you're doing long exposure photography because you don't want it to move over the course of 30 to 60 seconds. One of the things I really like about this Nisa filter is that it just snaps on and it's very easy to use. There you go. So this is a 10-stop filter. So I like going with something a little bit longer, keeping an eye on my water in the ocean. I put that on to show you. Now I'm going to take it off and I'm going to adjust my distance and my focus points. And then I'm going to put it in, figure out your focus point, how deep you want your depth of field. And then you're going to put on your ND filter, make sure that it's on manual exposure because otherwise it's going to be hunting around if it's an automatic, and you don't want that because the camera is looking for a subject, but if you have a 10-stop filter on, it can't see because it's too dark. Okay, so that didn't take too long to set up. 25 seconds, f11, ISO 125. Got some nice reflection of the pier there, some nice white water, and now I'm going to play with this. So this is the fun of long exposure photography. Once you have your settings roughly dialed in, you get to play with it. And of course, as it gets darker, the exposure might change. Keep in mind, if you have any lights in the background, when this pier lights up later, if I increase my f-stop to f16 or even higher, I'll get some starburst in there, which will also look nice. Okay, cool. Now that we've done the long exposures, now we get to do the fun part. We load them up in Lightroom, we take a look at them and see which ones have the best composition, which ones are the most interesting, where do we get some cool long exposure stuff. So here, I really love the white mist, and I also like the contrast of the dark pier and different parts there. So I'm going to up the whites, and I'm going to up the blacks and play with those, make sure I have the best composition, my horizon is level, and then I'm going to do both some global adjustments and some spot adjustments. And I will pick my favorite color and maybe convert it into black and white like this one. I actually like this one better in black and white, although other people I talk to like color better, so that's part of the fun. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, like, subscribe, share it, and I hope that you join me at one of my workshops and that you enjoy long exposure photography and have fun with it, because that's what it's all about. Talk to you later.